Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Simon and I'm here to talk about how to lose fat and build muscle. If this is something you're interested in, keep watching this video because I'm going to demystify and simplify the fat loss process. First, we need to understand that there are three main areas to good physical fitness. And this is how good is your cardiovascular system, how much body fat do you have on your body, and how much muscle mass do you have. All of these three areas can be worked on with good nutrition and correct optimal training. Body fat has always been important for the survival of the human race, but in this day and age, it's not as important having so much than it was when we were hunter-gatherers. You see, the human body has two main sources of energy that we can rely upon to fuel our bodies. This is glycogen and body fat. So glycogen and ketones. In the olden days, cavemen did not wake up and say, right, what's for breakfast? No, we had to go and hunt for the food or go forage, pick berries, and there would be times in winter or famine that there would be no food. In this day and age where food is plenty abundant, there's a Tesco around every corner, a supermarket. You can order food to your door within 30 minutes. There isn't so much a need for us to keep so much body fat on us. So what does it take to reduce the amount of body fat on our body? Because this is essentially what we're wanting to do. You see, body fat is a secondary fuel source. Glycogen is what our body prefers to use, and it's always the primary fuel source that's used in everyday life. However, when this glycogen levels are depleted, think of it like do you remember playing Street Fighters when you were young? There was that energy bar, that's your glycogen bar. When that gets to zero, you die. Well, in human cases, we don't. The body flips over to using ketones. It takes the body fat that you have stored on your body, converts it to ketones, and this is used to fuel us. Now, how do we go about reducing the body fat? Because essentially what body fat is in 2025 is like a battery pack, a power bank. You know, when you go on a day out and you have to ensure that if you run out of charge on your phones or tablets, that you have a secondary fuel source to keep your mobile phones charged. This essentially is what body fat is. We have a lot of power banks taped to our body, subcutaneous underneath our skin and between our organs. The most dangerous part is when it starts going in between our internal organs, and this can cause life-threatening situations. So the best way to stay healthy is to reduce the amount of body fat that we have on us. This helps us in everyday life. You look at the top sports people in the world, Olympians, world champion boxers and footballers, they have the same thing in common, which is they have relatively low body fat and a good amount of muscle mass, which is dependent on the sport that they play. But those two things, and obviously excellent cardio, and these are the things that we normal people can strive towards. All these things we can improve upon if we know how to do it. Unfortunately, there's so much information online. It's like one big puzzle that's been thrown up into the air and you don't know which piece goes where and here, which piece goes here and there. It's rather confusing. One person is saying this, one person saying stop eating carbs, another person saying eat low fat, do high intensity, do low intensity. There's so much information out there, and a lot of them are correct, but then a lot of them are not, designed to sell things. I'm here to simplify the whole process, because losing fat, it does not matter what diet you follow or what method you try to do it on. It comes down to one thing, which is you need to be in a caloric deficit to lose body fat. No one has ever lost weight when they're in a calorie surplus. Maybe someone that's had their leg bitten off by a shark, but in normal life, if you're in a calorie surplus, you're gaining weight. Our bodies are in a constant state of gaining and losing weight, and our body fluctuates upwards and downwards and upwards. But in this day and age where the food is so readily available and they're so calorific, you see, food companies, to sell more, they have injected a lot of things into normal foods, which makes it tastier. The human taste is sweet, salty, and savory. So they've added these chemicals or ingredients into our food. They've designed it to make it last longer, to sell more. Now, by doing this, the calorie content of a normal food you would get 50 years ago has increased dramatically. So not only are we faced with the population doing maybe less activity than what we used to, we're also having a lot of choices in the supermarket, which has up to double the amount of calories that the same food would have had 50 years ago. So knowing how to reduce the amount of body fat on your body is really truly a life hack, and I'm here to simplify it all and place it all into one place. So if you're interested in this kind of content, do consider subscribing and leave a comment down below, and I'll see if I can answer it. So the thing to understand is that our bodies rely on calories, which comes from food that we consume, to fuel us for the day. The majority of it is used up by our internal organs, our brain, our heart, but there are some for us to use up for activities that we do. Now, this amount of calorie is different for each person. So dependent on your age, your gender, and your activity level, we all have a number of calories each day that we require to keep our body at its current body size. Whether you're currently overweight or very lean or very skinny, everyone has a number. Even someone that has, let's say, underactive thyroid, whose thyroid functions aren't working correctly, this number is slightly reduced, but it's still a number. Everyone has a maintenance number. It's called a maintenance number. This number maintains our current body size. Now, there's only one rule that determines weight loss, and this is if we eat below this number, even by 1 calorie over a very, very long time, you will lose weight, and vice versa. If you eat above this maintenance number, it's you will gain weight over time. You know, if you think about it, 500 calories a day increase, multiply that by 7, equals 3,500. 3,500 is 1 pound of fat. So it's actually very easy to gain 1 pound. If you think how much a pizza is, a KFC variety meal, I think is somewhere 1,400 calories. You know, you have a full English breakfast, maybe a pizza, some beers. It's very easy to consume even 1 pound, 3,500 calories per day. And we can use this to go down, to reduce the amount of body fat on our bodies. Now, there's 2 ways to do this, which is to reduce the amount of food that we eat lower calorie foods, or we can exercise it. But I'll talk about that in the next video. I just wanted to give an introduction as to what we're planning to talk about on this channel, and that is how to lose body fat. Because for the next 2 months, I'm going to be trying to reduce the amount of body fat that I have on my body via a process called cutting, which is eating in a calorie deficit and obviously working out with a higher amount of protein than probably what you're used to. The protein part is to ensure that when I'm losing this weight, the majority of the weight is from fat loss rather than muscle loss, because obviously when you're losing weight, and if you do this incorrectly, you will lose a portion of it from fat and a portion of it from muscle. The perfect way to diet is to lose it mainly from fat, and there's a strategy to that which I will talk about in the next video. Again, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video.